Additionally, a 48-hour notice of the time, place, and manner of conducting this meeting has been made by the city clerk on February 1st, 2021, as required by law.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy has issued executive orders limiting the size of public gatherings. The City Council will meet today with all voting members of the City Council remotely by telephonic conferencing system. The City Council intends to meet on a regular schedule and will meet the guidelines of the Open Public Meetings Act by utilizing telephonic systems. Public participation at public meetings have been revised, and the public may participate through a conference call-in system. The public is encouraged to call into the conference call-in system through the phone numbers and access codes transmitted in the 48-hour notice and posted in the back vestibule of City Hall, visible to the public through the windows. Some city employees will also be available via conference call during this meeting as well. All on the conference call will have the opportunity to hear the City Council meeting. During the portions of the meetings that are not open for public comment, all callers from the public will be muted, and the council will not be able to hear any public comment through the conference call system. During the public comment periods of the conference call-in line, members who have interest in addressing the council will be first organized by last name and then called upon to speak. After all organized members of the public speak, they are to speak once and for no more than 5 minutes in any given public meeting portion. A timer will chime at the completion of each 5-minute period, and I will notify you that your time has expired. Public meeting assistance accessing the call-in number should call City Hall at 732-745-5007.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, justice for all.
And justice for all. Please join me in a moment of silence to reflect and honor our military personnel and law enforcement officers who dedicate their lives to protect our freedom, safety, and democracy. May God guide them safely in their duties. Thank you.
Motion to accept the minutes, Ms. Easley.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Egan. Councilmember Egan. Councilmember Fleming.
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar.
I'm sorry if you didn't hear me. I voted yes.
Thank you.
Egan voted yes. I'm sorry.
Duly noted. Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Madam Clerk, is there any correspondence?
Council President, any correspondence received by the City Clerk's office has been forwarded to the appropriate department for further action.
Thank you.
You're
We have
welcome.
no public hearings tonight, and we have ordinances for discussion on second reading. The first one is an ordinance to grant an easement into the city of New Brunswick's right-of-way for the State Theater marquee sign encroachment on Livingston Avenue, Block 12, Lot 24.01. And at this time, we are preparing to open the public hearing on this ordinance only for up to 5. Will the clerk please prepare a list?
Yes, Council President. For the members who would like to speak on this ordinance, I will organize the speakers by last name, beginnings with the letters A, B, C, D.
Unmuted.
E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Any members of the public who would like to speak on this ordinance? A through Z? Okay, we'll ask one more time. Do we have anyone who would like to speak on this ordinance? Council President?
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Egan?
Yes.
Council
Muted.
Fleming?
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar?
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig?
Yes. Next, we have an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Chapter 10.04, General Provisions, Administration, and 04.090, Designation of Parking Offenses to add electric scooter violations. At this time, we are preparing to open the public hearing on this ordinance only for up to 5 minutes per person. Madam Clerk, will you please prepare a list?
Yes, Council President. For the members of the public who would like to speak on this ordinance, I call on anyone beginning with
Unmuted.
the letters A through D, E through H, I through L,
Charlie
through P.
Cradaville.
Okay, Mr. Cradaville. M through P,
Danielle Moore.
okay, Ms. Moore. Q through T, U through Z. Any other members of the public who would like to speak on this ordinance? Okay, we'll ask one more time. If there's anyone who would like to speak to the council on this ordinance. Council President, we have 2 members of the public on the list, Mr. Charlie Cradaville
Muted.
and Ms. Danielle Moore.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Cradaville, can you please state your name, spell your last name?
Yes, Charlie Cradaville. I live on Saddam Street here in the Second Ward of New Brunswick. I'm the editor of New Brunswick Today, community newspaper, available on newbrunswicktoday.com. I wanted to ask whose idea this ordinance was and why you feel it's necessary. Are these offenses that were not offenses before, or is this increasing the fines? And what do you I guess I'll wait for those answers, and I might have some more questions.
I'm not sure who actually directed this, Mr. Cradaville, but I do know that these are for existing laws that are on the books, and what it does is enable the New Brunswick Parking Authority to use their handheld devices to enforce the laws, and specifically they are the riding on the sidewalk, parking, and abandonment of the scooter. So they are violations that were on the books, but like I said, this gives them to enforce them with their handheld devices.
Okay, so it's a little surprising. I would think these would be enforced by the police department. You're telling me that this gives the parking authorities, enforcement officers, the ability to, say, pull somebody over who's riding a scooter on the sidewalk and issue them a summons for that?
Madam Council President, if I could just answer that, TK Shammy, City Attorney.
Yes.
Thank you. When this ordinance was first adopted, when it was amended, the council specifically gave the authority to the police department and the parking authority to enforce the provisions that the council president recited. This ordinance just merely adds this listing of offenses to the handheld program to allow the parking authority to have access to that particular section or sections on their handheld device. The proposed fines and penalties were the same ones that were enacted when we initially adopted the ordinance. So to Mr. Cradaville's question, the police department and/or the parking authority officers can enforce these particular sections as is provided by the ordinance.
Sure. Now, maybe somebody in the police department could tell me if these are offenses that we're seeing a lot of. Are there a lot of summonses being issued? Are the the summonses and the fines making a difference in terms of the problems that are sometimes caused by the scooters?
Deputy Director Miller, is there anything you'd like to add or answer Mr. Cradwell's question?
I don't have exact numbers of how many summonses were issued. As far as if there are a lot, I mean, that's up to the person who is describing what a lot is. I can look into it and get back at the next meeting how many summonses have been issued by the police department. If it's making a difference or not, I think it's too early to tell. This is a new program, and it would be premature to make any judgments at this time.
Okay, thank you for that. And I hope that you can get the numbers for the next meeting. That would be very much appreciated. And I guess, more broadly for the council, if there's some, what do you think is the solution to the problems that are posed, and what is the city going to do besides this ordinance to address them? Because I do like to see new modes of transportation like this, but I definitely feel that the rollout was poor, and I hope that lessons were learned and things are going to be changed because there's nothing stopping additional programs from coming online, and I'd like to hear what the city is planning to do. I know the Traffic Commission had a meeting I was unable to make, but maybe Mr. Jones or somebody on the council could talk about what else is being done.
I don't have an answer to that. I know that, this is obviously part of something that we're doing to try to rectify the situation that was created. And part of the issue here was that Rutgers rolled out their program, I think, prematurely as far as we were concerned. I think the city's working with everybody and trying to put these measures in place to make sure that we don't have this again and that we can get a handle on everything. Thank you, Mr. Cradwell. Next, we have Danielle Moore.
Yes.
Ms. Moore, just state your name, spell your last name for the record, please.
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, yes, Danielle Moore, 272 Hamilton Street. Well, first, I would like to just say I thank everyone who did say, Mr. Anderson and everyone. I can't mention everybody's name. I do thank you for your prayers and getting well soon. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. My questions, I believe Captain Miller did answer my questions. I was just going to ask how many summons and tickets were written out for penalties with the scooter situation. I will have to say I haven't been seeing as many left around everywhere, but even though I have to say I don't think we have to worry about scooters anytime soon. But my point was I hope to hear from Captain Miller at the next meeting, like he said, how many tickets and summonses and what were they for regards to the scooters. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. We have no more members of the public.
Yes, Council President, no more members.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes.
Council President Sikora Ludwig.
Yes. Now we have ordinances on first reading. One, an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 16, Land Development Code, Chapter 16.24, Site Plan Review, Section 16.24.260, Application Fees.
I move the adoption of this ordinance on first reading and set the matter down for public hearing on February 17th at 5:30, and that the same be advertised according to law.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. And next, we have an ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the City of New Brunswick, Title 10, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 10.12.170, Schedule 19, a regulation closing streets where schools are located, delete Board of Education Offices School, former St. Peter's, Section 10.16.020, Schedule 2.4, no parking at any time, delete portion of Somerset Street, Section 10.16.030, Schedule 27, no parking certain hours, school zone, delete Division Street and Hardenberg Street.
I move the adoption of this ordinance on first reading and set the matter down for public hearing on February 17th at 5:30, and that the same be advertised according to law.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. Next, we have resolutions 1 through 27, and at this time, I'll prepare to open the public comment on the resolutions only for up to 5 minutes per person. Madam Clerk, will you please prepare a list?
Yes, Council President. In order to assure that the City Council can hear from the interested public and that the public can hear public comment, I will organize the speakers in order by last name, beginning with the letters A through D,
Unmuted.
E through H, I through L,
Charlie Cradaville.
okay, M through P, Q through T,
Linda Stewart.
okay, Ms. Stork, U through Z, any other members of the public who would like to address the council on the resolution? We'll ask one more time if there's any member of the public who would like to speak on these resolutions. Council President, we have 2 members of the public. Mr. Cradaville first.
Muted.
Mr. Cradaville, please just state your name, spell your last name for the record again.
Sure, Charles Cradaville, Kratovil. I want to talk about resolution 022110 for the master plan. I have a few questions. Can somebody tell me how the firm CME Associates was chosen for this important role?
I know that there are companies that we've used before for quite a few things, but Mr. Dominguez, do you have anything else you'd like to add to that?
Excuse me. Can you hear me, Council President?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me? Oh, thanks. So we went out for proposals back in early December. We received 2 proposals. One was from CME Associates, one was from Topology. CME came in notably lower than Topology, and that is the firm recommended here for tonight for contracting with for the purposes of developing the master plan.
Okay, and can you tell me what the timeline is for their work? Are they going to be there for the whole process or just for the beginning?
The
Mr.
CME
Dominguez?
will be developing, sorry. So CME will be developing the master plan and handling the public portion and all of that over the course of the next approximately 10 to 11 months.
Okay, and the public portion, what is that going to consist of? How many meetings outside of the actual, planning board and city council are we going to have?
The expectation is that there would be one city council, one planning board, one zoning board, and one non-board related public meeting.
Okay, well, that is disappointing. I think that for such an important document like the master plan, which is going to hopefully last us 10 years, and at this time when, having a meeting can be as simple as setting up a conference call and letting people call in, I think that we need more public input. I hope, Madam Council President, that you agree and that you'll, push for more as a member of the planning board. I know we've been speaking a lot recently, but public input's a good thing, and it's good to have more people doing it. So anything we can do to open up the process for more people, including having more opportunities for public comment on the master plan, I think would be very wise. And I hope that y'all, as well as CME Associates, will come around and do that, because this is so important. This should be the beginning tonight of the greatest public input process that we've had for anything yet for this master plan. And I have a lot of thoughts on what I would like to see New Brunswick be in 10 years, and I'm sure all of you do too. So let's not, hurry this without having, full public input, more than just one meeting. Obviously, the council and the planning board, the land use boards are going to have hearings just to approve it. So I think that having more non-board meetings would be in order and really sorely needed. This isn't just one building. This is the whole master plan. So I hope you'll support more than just that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cradaville. Who is next on the list? Ms. Stork? Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Council President, Ms. Stork.
Ms. Stork, if you can please just state your name, spell your last name for the record.
Linda Stork, S-T-O-R-K.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, I had the same question about the master plan. I would just like to reiterate, I had assumed there would be a minimum of, well, if they were being done live, like a meeting in each neighborhood or each ward. So even though they're virtual, I mean, I would want to see at least the equivalent of that, either done by, I mean, since it's virtual, it might not be by geographic area, but maybe by, I don't know, interest area, students, older residents, families, I don't know, but yeah, more public input for that. And I had a question about the one, I'm going to give the number, 022122. Who are we bulk feeding chemicals to? Is this water treatment? So there's $1 million, over $1 million worth of chemicals on here.
From what I understand, this is regular treatment through our water department. I don't believe it's anything above that. Is that correct, Mr. Wallace?
Yes, this is the typical annual budget for water treatment chemicals.
Okay.
It takes a lot of money to make the water potable.
Yeah,
Yes, well, yeah, and it takes okay, so, it didn't say water on there. I was just making sure that's what it was, that I understood that correctly. And then there's something, else for the water department about testing. So the water department doesn't get its own separate budget?
Each department has a budget.
Right, so then I'm curious why these come through. So why wouldn't the chemicals that they use to fix the water be in their budget?
Mr. Shammy, do you have an answer for that?
Well, it is in their budget. This particular expenditure, Madam Council President, is a annual expenditure which the water utility budgets for to treat their water, as the director indicated, to make the water potable and to treat it for different conditions in their knowledge and experience that are required. So, yeah, the water utility does have its own budget. This would come out of their budget and out of their accounts, which are recited in the resolution as well.
Okay, I was understanding that this was in addition to whatever they were budgeted. Okay, now I understand that. And I had a question about the one that has testing for the water company. I mean, like outside testing. The water company does their own testing, right?
What resolution are you referring to? What number?
I'm trying to find it.
Maybe 14.
14. Yes.
The fire.
That's it. Yeah, contaminant analysis for the water utility. Don't they do that?
And what was your question?
Well, I thought that the water department did that. This is being referred to outside testers. Doesn't the water department test the water? Isn't that part of what they do?
Mr. Wallace, can you explain this process to her?
Sure. Yes, we do lots of testing. We do lots of testing in-house. And then there are other contaminants that are more exotic, or you're looking for them in very, very small quantities, or we are just not certified to test for, that we have to send out to outside labs.
All the
Sir, do you have
time?
any other questions?
Well, these are these exotic contaminants something new, or is this something that's done every time?
Some of these are done every time. This particular resolution is for blue-green algae, cyanobacteria in the raw water, the surface waters, Lake Farrington or the Delaware Raritan Canal. Very expensive to test for.
Thank
Okay,
you,
thank
Mr.
you.
Wallace. Ms. Stork, your time is up. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I heard.
The public portion is now closed.
Move the resolutions.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming,
Yes.
Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes.
Council President Socorro Ludwig.
Yes. The resolutions are adopted, and now I just want to give a brief statement. I want to give everybody the benefit of a brief summary regarding our snow removal procedure, since we just are in the midst of a major storm. So I want you to please keep in mind that the magnitude of this storm made it logistically challenging, notwithstanding the outside factors such as personal snow removal from cars and property into city streets. Yet all 80 miles of plowable road has been passed over at least 4 times, some more. Standard operating procedure commences with designated emergency roads, then main avenues and cross streets, followed by side streets with the use of various equipment such as pickup trucks and dump trucks equipped with plows and salt spreaders, a large front end loader and backhoe, and then smaller Kubotas. The owners of property bear the responsibility of clearing their sidewalks within 12 daylight hours after the completion of an event. Phone calls and media messages are immediately relayed to Public Works, who respond accordingly based on each situation. Well, that is one way to report an issue. Remember, New Brunswick uses the Reported app, and these concerns will be directly related to Public Works as well. And it is a good practice to use this app for expediency with matters for all matters that relate to the city. In relation to snow events, there is free parking for our residents in certain parking decks throughout the city. They are listed on the New Brunswick Parking Authority website and are in effect now through tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Utilizing this benefit during a storm allows safe space for your vehicle and also alleviates the interference of parked cars when snow removal equipment is trying to maneuver around our streets. I am aware that there have been numerous complaints from Laurel Place, but also have been briefed that there have been no less than 6 passes made by plows on that road, and the police have been using speakers in the area to remind residents not to throw snow into the streets. That area continues to be monitored. In addition, as snow events relate to trash collection, this is posted on the city media pages as well as Nixle alerts. All garbage is under normal collection schedule as of now. Then if your recycling was canceled, you do have the option to drop it off at Public Works if you have abundance of it before your next scheduled date. And I also just wanted to say that, if you have issues, please report them and they will be addressed accordingly. If I misspoke or failed to mention everything and you'd like to make remarks, please do so.
So, Madam,
Unmuted.
you covered all the information. Thank you.
Muted.
Do any other members of council have anything they'd like to add?
Yes, Madam President.
Yes, Councilman
I know
Anderson.
these last 3 days have been very tough, especially with the weather. It's noted that taxes were due on February 1st through the 10th. And I would hope that perhaps the city would look into perhaps extending that because of these 3 missed days when people could not get downtown or anything like that. I'd appreciate it if the administration and the tax office would consider extending that through perhaps maybe even the February 16th on the taxes being due. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any other council members have anything they'd like to add?
If I may,
Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to say
Okay.
real quick that a few weeks ago, I participated in several virtually community activities where in presentations, if you don't know, or some of you have noticed, we have new murals in the city of New Brunswick, which were done through a collaboration with Collab Arts and the Esperanza Project. They're gorgeous. There's one on French by King's Pike, on Handy Street at the Costa Chica restaurant, and there's another beautiful one at Alice James Archibald Park honoring our New Brunswick native and advocate of children. So I just want to say thank you to all the organization and especially the New Brunswick Arts Council, because without their support, this could happen. I also had the opportunity to participate in an activity with, in conjunction with Collab and Elijah's Promise. They did a wonderful program portraying stories of the parents of Elijah's Promise, some of the stories of our homeless population. It was an excellent program, so I want to thank them also, and Elijah's Promise for the wonderful job that they do in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Fleming?
Yes, I just wanted to point out, we know February is Black History Month, which started out by Carter G. Woodson as Negro History Week, and it expanded. And a lot of times we always talk about, they give the same names every year. You start talking about the inventors and stuff like that. But sometimes you got to talk about some of the unsung heroes that lived right here in New Brunswick. There were several organizations back in the 70s. You had the Black Fathers Organization, which I'm proud that my father was a part of it, which that actually spun off into the Pop Warner program, the New Brunswick Raiders. And these were just a group of men who, some of them not college educated. My father, a couple of his friends, they didn't even graduate high school, but they just had a passion to help out the youth of New Brunswick. There were several unsung heroes through this time, and it also spun up into, we had the POW programs, we had the Boy Scout programs, and sometimes you have to recognize those people. You know, Rebecca just mentioned the park, Alice Archibald Jennings. Sometimes our kids, it goes unnoticed that they don't know about the history of African-American achievements in New Brunswick. So I just wanted to point that out because sometimes their names will never get mentioned in some of these organizations. That's it.
Thank you, Councilman Fleming. And Councilman Egan, do you have anything you'd like to speak on?
No, thank you.
And I would also be remiss if I didn't thank all our DPW employees and all the employees of the city. They did do a phenomenal job with snow removal and taking care of our streets and making sure the community was safe for us. And they're still out there working. So, you know, please don't forget the wonderful job that they did. And now I'm not going to forget this week, Director Rawls, do you have an OEM COVID update for us?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So, as we were you were just referring to the winter storm earlier this week that did leave, was intense and definitely left its mark on not only the city but the state. Officially, New Brunswick received 18 inches of snow. The Parking Authority is still operating snow-designated facilities to residents of New Brunswick through Thursday, February 4th at 8 a.m. Residents must utilize the snow facilities designated in the snow parking map on the NDPA website, or payment for stay will be due at exit. As you would expect, the storm forced COVID testing and vaccination to close across the city, county, and the state, but many of those services are being rescheduled or resuming now. Today, the governor announced the new capacity limit that will go into effect on Friday, February 5th. The following will be permitted to increase indoor capacity to 35% on Friday. Restaurants, indoor entertainment and recreation, including gyms and casinos, personal care businesses, indoor performance venues, and indoor religious ceremonies. COVID-19 vaccinations are now available to multiple groups, including healthcare workers, long-term care residents and staff, first responders, and high-risk individuals. The high-risk category is quite broad and includes all those aged 65 and older. It also includes those between the ages of 16 and 64 with conditions including COPD, smoke history, obesity, and type 2 diabetes. COVID vaccinations are by appointment only at various locations in New Brunswick, including Chandler Clinic, Eldridge Hotel, and both Robert Wood Johnson and St. Peter's Hospitals. There are additional sites around Middlesex County and the state. For a complete list of the sites in Middlesex County, please visit our city website at cityofnewbrunswick.org. For a statewide list, please visit the state website, covid19.newjersey.gov, and search for the vaccine. Free COVID-19 tests will resume at Unity Square Community Center on Remsen Avenue next Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There is no appointment necessary for this location. The next date is Tuesday, February 9th, In addition, testing will continue downtown on George Street on Monday for employees and employers in New Brunswick. Please monitor our city website for details. COVID-19 testing through Middlesex County Office of Health Services is ongoing in Highland Park and Piscataway. For dates and times, please visit the Middlesex County website. And lastly, the city continues to share updated information about COVID-19 on our website and social media platforms. The COVID-19 Report podcast on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It can be found on the city website at cityofnewbrunswick.org. Thank you.
Madam President, if I may.
Of course.
Just two more things. Elijah's Promise was hit with a problem with the water falling down, and congratulations to the fire department and those people who took care of that. But Elijah's Promise is certainly looking for donations to help now and to take care of all that, although they're doing a fine job, even if it's done that way. And also congratulations to all the volunteers, especially with the days that we've had with Code Blue. So I'd like to thank them too. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Anderson. And now we'll move to the public portion of the meeting. At this time, we're preparing to open the meeting for public comment for up to 5 minutes per person. Madam Clerk, will you please prepare a list?
Yes, Council President. I will organize the speakers in order by last name, beginning with the letters A through D, E through H, I through L.
Unmuted.
Charlie Cradaville.
Okay, Mr. Cradaville.
Danielle Moore.
Okay, Ms. Moore. Q through T.
Linda Stork.
Okay, Ms. Stork. U through Z. Any other members of the public who would like to address the council? Are there any other members of the public who would like to address the council? Okay, Council President, the first person on the list is Mr. Charlie.
Muted.
Mr. Cradaville, once again, just say your name, spell your last name, and you have 5 minutes.
Charlie Cradaville, Kratovil. Wanted to ask about something you mentioned with the recycling. I think everybody in the city had their recycling canceled. We only have recycling once every 2 weeks. I want to understand it's not going to be rescheduled. There's not going to be a pickup for another 2 weeks.
I was under the impression that there was a rescheduled date for Zone 1 that was supposed to take place this Saturday, but I don't have a definite answer on that. Mr. Drulis, do you know the answer to that question?
Actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask for Mr. Valenti.
Okay.
To give us that answer.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're in the process of trying to get that. The problem is that it just in effect has affected every single town. And so the entire collection system is backed up. So we're in the that's why there's a rumor mill trying to get Saturday. We have not been able to confirm that. We're still attempting to get that, and we'll try to notify everybody. But it's a regional problem. It's not specific to New Brunswick.
Thank you, Mr. Valenti.
I guess I want to know why Zone 1 is potentially, in the mix to get a pickup, but not Zone 2.
Again, that would only be if we can get a date. If we can get the date, we can only get one date. It's only enough to service one of the areas. And since Zone 1 was the first one canceled, just a matter of sequence. But again, we don't even know if we can get a date yet.
Okay.
Is it possible to
Understood.
drop off any place?
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Crandall.
Yes,
Yeah, I
Mr.
think
Anderson.
I think so, right?
No, but, yes, you can drop off at Public Works. Yes, you may drop off at Public Works, correct.
Right, yeah, I stated that before, Mr. Anderson.
Right.
Okay, gotcha. And that's only on Saturday you can drop it off, right? Or is that more than that?
I would call and confirm with them, given the situation right now.
Well, since we have the director here, could we just get an answer on when, what hours, when, what days can people bring the recycling to DPW?
I believe it's already on all the documentation that's out and what's on our websites. I don't know specifically, but I can confirm that first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you. I just know a lot of people were, everybody was affected, so I want to know that. I'm concerned about police transparency, crimes being, not being publicized. Just listening to court cases and hearing about some of the things where innocent people were randomly attacked or victimized in their own homes, stuff that was not shared with the public by the police. And I guess I wanted to ask about what kind of guns the police have in addition to the, the ones that are on their holsters. What kind of guns do they have in the back of the car?
Deputy Director Miller, is that something you'd like to answer?
I don't have the models off the top of my head. I could send Mr. Crandall an email tomorrow with the exact models. I don't want to misspeak. Several officers are trained in long guns. Not every officer qualifies with that. But there's also shotguns available. Like I said, I'll send an email with the exact model numbers and stuff, so we're clear on everything. That's okay with Mr. Crandall.
Yeah, and I had asked about a January 15th incident where the long guns were pointed in the direction of Central Avenue, and I just wanted to understand a little more about that incident. I'm sure the deputy director will follow up. But I am concerned about, in particular, an incident in October on Townsend Street where someone was victimized in their home. Can the deputy director give us some insight into what is behind the decision to publicize certain crimes and not others? I know previously he said to the effect of, it's when there's a random attack that's, more likely to be publicized as opposed to something where the suspect and the victim knew one another. But I'm hearing about a lot of cases where random attacks are not being shared, and I'm again concerned that one area of town is getting favorable treatment over the other. In particular, the area near Rutgers tends to have major publicity every time there's an incident like that there, and not so much in my area. Could the deputy director speak to that? Yeah, thank you.
Do you have any comment you'd like to make on that, Deputy Director Miller?
Like I've said before, we publicize incidents when we feel there's a threat to the community or if there's information we need from the community. A lot of times we don't go into detail or publicize things when there's not a threat because it jeopardizes the investigation. Every case is independent of itself, and when the situation warrants information, we publicize.
Thank you. Next up is Ms. Danielle Moore. Ms. Moore?
Hi, yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Just state your name, spell your last name. Yes,
Danielle
please
Moore,
state your name, spell your last name for the record.
I just did
Thank you.
272
Go ahead, Ms. Moore.
Hi, like I said, like I said, once again, Mr. Anderson, I'd like to thank all of you for your prayers and get well soon. Oh, yes, it is very painful now. 6 procedures that I do have to get done with burning my nerves. Like I said, it's very painful. I do thank everyone for their concerns, their prayers to help me get well. Thank you. I would also like to say that thank you to all the volunteers as well as you did, Mr. Anderson, for Code Blue. due to where I know we had at least 5 days straight about 2 weeks ago of code blue. And I know, wow, as of the weekend, wow, at least for 10 days, it's going to be in the single digit teens. And I say thank you to all the workers due to where it's going to be very cold, record breaking next week with how cold it is going to be. Yes, I will ask anyone to show their support due to where for the needy and the homeless to keep them warm. I will say thank you on that. Hope to continue the great job. Excuse me, like I said, little stuttering. I am in pain, like I said, excuse me. But my main concern, that was where I was out just trying to do a little walking today. It's a big issue, and I know it's going to get worse by the weekend once the rain comes, due to where even if someone does clean their sidewalk, at every corner there's a mountain where I pray no one gets hurt trying to climb over just to get to the walkway. At majority of these corners, I'm asking, giving it time, even though I couldn't believe due to where so many complaints went out to L'Oreal after the police officer getting stuck over there so many times, due to where the residents calling and the workers are saying, oh, Mayor Cahill won't pay us overtime anymore. We're not doing any more snow plowing. I just couldn't believe that, due to we're hearing from so many residents about that, due to where some of those roads, due to where they hardly were even touched due to where if it wasn't for police or ambulance or someone reporting to these roads, I know that I give it to the workers. They're working very hard, but I still think that Mayor Cahill needs to take it more seriously. No matter how much overtime for the safety of the residents, I'm pretty sure it shouldn't be an issue. But like I said, I hope throughout the weekend the city can try to work out something, and I hope the inspectors get out there and start ticketing these residents and owners for not really clearing their sidewalks. But I have to say, plenty of people tried to do it, but like I said, due to where I didn't even get a chance to put up the pictures on Facebook, that was George Street, on the corner of George Street and French Street. Just trying to walk through downtown to where all the mountains. Like I said, God forbid somebody doesn't break a leg trying to lean over, jump over just to get to the walkway. So I hope that the city throughout the weekend time Mr. Mayor Cahill would be able to pay them a little extra. I'm pretty sure it's worth it, due to where you're having so many complaints where some of these streets you were saying support President Loving, like I said, excuse me with my speech now, like I said, pain right now. But yes, due to where you were saying these streets were plowed 4 times, I already know some of these streets wasn't even plowed 1 time. Due to where it was, and then it's a big issue now with the way they were plowed. I'm not speaking against the workers, the great job, the hard work, overtime and all. I'm just thinking that more money should be put to this, due to where it's an issue with parking now, due to where the way the roads are plowed and parking today. I was witnessing, wow, due to where if there's one car on one side, a car on the other, an ambulance comes through, fire truck comes through, they can't even reach through. They can't even see through. It's going to be a big issue. I was just looking out the window of my window now a moment ago, about an hour ago, with the fire truck, due to where they couldn't even get through. So I hope that Mayor Cahill will look into paying a little more overtime to the workers so they can help get these roads and streets clean, due to where, like I said, plenty of rain Friday. They said we won't get the next storm Sunday, but wow, with all the cold air, it's going to turn to ice glaciers. So yes, it's best to try to hurry up and get it done. And like I said, due to where the person who's walking, at every corner you go to where you have to keep jumping over just to get to the walkway, I saw Rutgers doing a great job where removing the snows off some of the corners of the Main Street. I hope the city of New Brunswick I hope the mayor will do something about that, please.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Your time has expired, and I'd just like to address that. I know that our DPW and our city has been working around the clock to clean the streets. Every street was hit at least 4 times. If you see something, this goes for anybody out there. If you see a street that you don't think was plowed, please call, use the reported app, call the city if you see piles that seem dangerous. I mean, we need to work together to some extent to get our streets cleared, but there was no holdback on the service that was provided to the city with snow removal. It was just a enormous storm, and it's just taking a little more time to do. As far as ticketing goes with sidewalks, people do have, I think, the inspections will start on Friday because it's from the end of a storm. It's a 12-hour daylight period after the end of a storm. So that is when that will take effect. And I just wanted to, make those couple little statements. Next, we'll have Ms. Linda Storr.
Hi.
Ms. Storr?
So it's 12 hours from the end of a storm, and the end of the storm was counted as today?
Yes, it was still snowing today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I would have a question about the tax bills. I had assumed that they didn't go out on time because I didn't get mine. I usually get it around the same time as the water bill, and I talked to somebody else who hadn't gotten theirs either. So I assumed there would be an extension. I thought they were going out late, like in August. That always happens.
I don't believe there's been any. There has been no discussion of an extension besides the statement that Mr. Anderson made today. It has not been talked about with the city administration.
So the bills did not go out late? This must just be a.
I'm not aware if they did.
I mean, I never got mine, and the other person I talked to never got theirs either.
Unless there may be an issue with mail now. I know I haven't even gotten mail for the past 3 days because of mail service. It has nothing to do with the city.
Right, and these 3 days because of the storm, but I mean, before that, the tax bills would have gone out a couple weeks back. Yeah. Okay, that's concerning. I guess I have to call the tax office and find out what happened there. Yeah. Also, it's concerning to me that the crimes don't get reported consistently, and that there still is no update on the mass shooting on Delafield Street. There's been since another crime on Delafield Street, and it was Rutgers related. The only thing we ever heard about the horrific mass shooting over there was, where the 2 people died, was that it was not student related, not Rutgers, not related to Rutgers. But the longer we don't hear anything, the more I honestly doubt that, because that whole block is Rutgers. It's been Rutgers for years. My daughter's godfather moved off that block because, they couldn't sleep with the students, and that was the famous riot where they burned furniture in the middle of the street and threw stuff from the roof at the firefighters. That's a student block. Yeah, but the only thing we know about it is that it's supposedly not student related, or not.
Well, and
Rutgers.
you do know also that it's and I think you're aware also it's an ongoing investigation, and that we can't impede that.
Well, I should certainly hope so, but yeah, I mean, something of, to reassure. So it was said before that if it's that they report the ones that the public should be concerned about. So so if there was why is this not, it would be reassuring if we could know why this is not something we should be concerned about, and that's why we don't hear anything. I just don't understand. It was also concerning to me that I didn't find out until the end of the year that there had been water quality issues since way back in the spring. And then I get the letter, and it even said that people that are compromised, should not have been drinking the water. But this was months later. Why was that not set out in a timely manner? Because it was a little late for somebody that was, it said like young children or people that are compromised should not be drinking the tap water, but what about the people that were drinking it all those months?
I believe the report was sent out when we were notified of the issue, and I did not think it was a drinking water quality issue. I don't remember that being in the report that we shouldn't be drinking the water. Is that incorrect, Mr. Wallace? Do you have, that was not part of that report, was it, that we shouldn't be drinking the water?
The issue was related to some low pHs out in the distribution system. And as part of the water quality parameters, the state has a form letter has to go out. And there's very specific language in that form letter. And unfortunately, the letter talks a lot about lead. And then it has all of the precautions to take against lead. The issue was not a lead issue. We did not have any instances of lead above the action level in any of the testing that we did. But unfortunately, we don't get to pick the letter or the format of the letter that gets sent out.
Oh, so
Thank you. Ms. Stork,
good because
Ms.
that
Stork,
was
your time is
concerning
up.
to see that-
Ms. Stork, your time is up. Thank you. That concludes the public portion of the meeting.
Council President?
Madam President,
Yes,
if I could
Mr.
just
Gillis.
jump in for just a second here. I wanted to provide, this is Bert Barron, the Public Information Officer. Just some additional information. A member of the public had a question earlier regarding recycling. I know that myself and our recycling coordinator have been in discussions and we're lobbying very hard to get a makeup date for a collection for zone number 2. The zone 1 makeup date will happen Saturday. Just a reminder that the recycling materials can be delivered in person on Saturday. If we are able to get a zone 2 makeup date, we will certainly share that on our website and our social media as soon as that is locked in. But we are working, and fingers crossed, to get a makeup date for zone 2. I just wanted to make sure that we got that out tonight. So thank you for the time.
Okay, Mr. Barron, so between when Mr. Valenti spoke and just now, you confirmed that Saturday is the makeup date for Zone 1?
Yes, within
Okay.
the last couple of days of getting our messaging out and things, yes, there will be a zone 1 collection date will be made up on Saturday. And again, we are working and hoping to get a makeup date for zone number 2 as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Droulis, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yes, thank you, Council President. I just want to allay Ms. Moore's fear regarding overtime and the employees and make sure that she and the council know that there has been no restrictions in overtime, particularly in a storm scenario. Besides the fact that overtime is a contractual obligation, it also, the city employees who have been working are always compensated for their time based on the contract, and there's been no restriction on overtime. So hopefully that'll make Ms. Moore feel better.
Thank you. Now, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Motion.
Second.
Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Egan,
Yes.
Councilmember Fleming, Councilmember Fleming, Council Vice
Oh,
President.
sorry, I had it on mute. Yes, I'm sorry. I had it on mute.
Noted. Council Vice President Escobar,
Yes.
Council President Zakor Ludwig.
Yes.